Hey guys, and in this video, I'm going to be giving you a secret edge over your competitors. I'm going to be giving you 10 proven psychological triggers that get customers to convert at higher rates and to spend more money. As I've discussed before on this channel, knowing about sales psychology is like having a secret weapon, and I have found that most online sellers completely neglect this. I find a lot of them like to focus on numbers and technical things like the best Facebook ad bidding strategies while completely neglecting why people choose to click on ads in the first place. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you 10 psychological triggers that you can use. And I'm also going to be giving you actionable strategies as to how you can implement these in your own online store. For example, if you have a Shopify or a WooCommerce dropshipping store, or if you have an Amazon business and are selling on there. So let's do this. Let's give you guys a secret weapon and edge over your competitors. Trigger 1. Incite customers to buy by giving them something for free. So obviously giving a customer a 20% off discount coupon encourages them to buy more from you because they're now getting items at a discounted price. But that's not the only reason why. When we give a customer a freebie like a coupon, especially if they weren't expecting it and it felt like a personal gift, we trigger the social norm of reciprocity. The norm of reciprocity is simple. When someone does something nice for us, we feel a strong obligation to return the favor. If you moved to a new house and a neighbor came over to bring you cookies as a welcome gift, you would feel obligated to bake them something in return. This sense of obligation is very powerful. In 1976, sociologist Philip Kunz did an experiment. He mailed out handwritten Christmas cards that contained a photo of him and his family to 600 random strangers. Despite not knowing him, almost 200 strangers sent him a card back. The norm of reciprocity is one of the key tenets of marketing and advertising. Think about those products that they let you try them for free at home. Hey, try a mattress for free for 100 days. But what happens is that when the 100 days is up, the customer now feels indebted to the company for letting them have the mattress. They don't want to inconvenience the company, so a lot of people, even if they don't want to keep the mattress, will keep it anyway. So how can you implement this? Well, if you're running your own dropshipping store, a really great way to do it is to add personalized coupons to your store. For example, the spin to win coupon pop-up boxes you may have seen that give you a random discount, these are a great example of this. Not only do they feel more personal since the customer gets their own exclusive discount, but because they are engaged with your site and had a fun experience, they now feel indebted to you. And if you're selling on Amazon, customers almost never expect to receive anything with their order. So a really great idea is to include a note and a discount coupon inside the product packaging. Trigger 2, create envy with customer reviews. So let me ask you a question. Why do you think it's a good idea to encourage customers to leave reviews for the items that they've purchased? Well, the obvious answer is that it provides social proof for potential customers. They see that other customers have liked it, and so now they trust you more. However, that's the obvious answer. The other side to customer reviews is that it creates envy in your prospective customers. Have you ever heard the phrase, keeping up with the Joneses? It refers to the idea that if we see our neighbors, i.e. the Jones family, buy a car that is bigger than ours, then it makes us feel jealous, envious, and makes us want to buy a car to match, if not beat them. And so that's what positive product reviews do. We see that other people are benefiting and enjoying this product, and we want to get that same benefit in our lives. So if you've got a Shopify store, then a great way to do this is to add an app to your store like Stamped.io that automatically sends the customer an email asking them to leave a review. And if you're selling on Amazon, then it's also crucial that you try to get as many customer reviews as you can. And so you also want to be using an app like JumpSend, which will automatically email the customer after the sale, asking them to leave a review. Trigger 3, use curiosity to drive traffic and engagement. Now, curiosity can be used to drive direct sales, but more often than not, it's used by marketers and advertisers to drive clicks to websites and products or to increase engagement. I've heard curiosity be described like an itch that you need to scratch. Once we become curious, we are driven to find an answer to it. So, how can you create curiosity? In 2009, Colin Camara conducted an experiment. He took 19 undergrad students and hooked them up to a brain scanner and then asked them 40 trivia questions. They ranged from super easy, what galaxy is Earth a part of? The answer, of course, being the Milky Way, to more obscure, what instrument was invented to sound like a human singing? The answer being the violin. The students were asked to do 3 things. 1. Think silently about what they thought the answer to the question was. 2. Write down how confident they were in their answer. 3. Mark on a scale of how curious they were to know the answer to the question. Ultimately, the study found that curiosity is like a U-shaped curve. When we know nothing about something, we are not very curious. When we know a little bit about something, we become very curious. The more we know beyond that, the less curious we become. So how can you implement this to make more sales online? Well, the Spin to Win discount coupon pop-up boxes are another great example of this. The customer knows a little bit, they know that they can win a potential discount if they play the game. But they don't know what they will win. This curiosity drives them to take action and sign up so that they can find out the answer. And curiosity has been used by a lot of dropshippers to sell this avocado slicer. Check out this video ad. It creates curiosity by showing us this strange looking tool at the start and telling us that it will help us slice avocados better, but not showing us how. It makes us want to see it in action because it looks so odd that it's hard to figure out how it works just by looking at it. And if you're selling on Amazon, then a great way to add curiosity into your strategy is to be creative with the email titles that you use for the emails that you send out asking customers to leave a review. Test email titles that will pique curiosity. So normally people will send out email titles like, how are you enjoying your avocado slicer? Well, instead, try email titles like, I have a favor that I would like to ask you. Titles like that pique curiosity. The customer thinks, oh, what favor do they want from me? And so it drives them to open up the email so that they can find the answer to that question. Trigger 4, use photos to help customers visualize. When you're selling items online, whether you're drop shipping in your own Shopify or WooCommerce store, or whether you're selling on Amazon, it doesn't matter. Photos are the most important part of your product listing. Yes, Amazon has tested this, and photos are the #1 conversion factor as to whether a customer buys a product or not. And one of the most powerful things that you can therefore do is include a photo in your product listing that shows the product being used in a real life context, because this helps the customer visualize themselves actually using it. And if customers can visualize themselves actually using a product, then they are far more likely to buy it. Last week, I highlighted an Amazon product listing that had very bad photos. As you can see, they only had photos of the product against a white background. If they had included a photo like this, showing a dog eating one of the dog treats, that would have made the listing a lot more engaging. And if you're dropshipping from AliExpress, then don't just include the basic photos of a product against a white backdrop. Instead, look for photos that the supplier has provided showing it in a real-life context. And if the supplier doesn't have these, consider buying a test product and taking your own photos. Trigger 5, use photos to create emotions in the customer. Honest truth, when most people try to sell things online, they take a very dry approach to marketing. They say, hey, I have this avocado slicer. Look, it's made from food-safe plastic. And hey, it cuts avocados. And look, it takes out the avocado pip. And it creates avocado cubes. Buy my avocado slicer. No, 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 no. You know what works so much better? Approaching it from this angle. Hey, do you love avocados, but you find cubing them to be messy and annoying? Well, guess what? This tool fixes the problem. Now, this is so much more effective for multiple reasons, but one of the reasons is that it triggers emotions in the customer. Do you love avocados? Yes, I love avocados. Do you find cubing them to be messy and annoying? Yes, it's the worst part of my favorite fruit. See, emotions triggered. Emotions are integral to decision making. Professor Antonio Damasio conducted a study. He took a group of people who were mentally impaired at feeling and experiencing emotions, but who could still access the rational, logical parts of their brain. He discovered that they struggled to make simple decisions like what to eat for dinner because they lacked any sense of how they felt about their different options. In other words, a lack of emotion leads to indifference, and indifference leads to a lack of motivation. So yes, words can create emotions, but photos are some of the most effective ways to do that. Before it became massively saturated, a lot of people had success dropshipping this ring because of this photo the AliExpress supplier provided. They slapped this photo on relevant Instagram influencer pages and it sold like crazy, and it doesn't take a genius to figure out why. When you look at this photo, it really feels like you're there at the ocean at sunset. And on Amazon, it's the same deal. A lot of listings for two-person hammocks, an item which is dominated by private label sellers, have informative yet unemotional photos. This is a wasted opportunity. It's a great idea to include a photo like this one in your listing. This photo not only helps people visualize themselves in the hammock, but it also evokes feelings of romance as well. And of course, opportunities to canoodle are a big reason why people buy two-person hammocks. Trigger 6, use price anchoring to push prices higher. So here's a question, which of these beers do you think is more valuable than the other? Well, unless you know anything about these beers, that's a very difficult question to answer. We, the customer, are regularly put in situations like this in life. We're presented with products that we would like, but we have no idea what their value is. And it's not your fault. Why should you know? You know that you want a beer, but you don't know anything about the foreign beers on the menu. How are you supposed to know which one to choose? Well, there is actually a way that most people choose between two different options, and they do it without even realizing. It's called price anchoring, and a study on beer can show us how it works. In phase 1 of the study, customers had two choices, a standard beer for $1.80 and a premium beer for $2.50. Around 80% of people chose the more expensive beer. In phase 2 of the study, customers were given a third choice, a cheap beer for $1.60. Nobody bought the cheap beer, but now 80% of people were choosing the $1.80 standard beer instead. In phase 3 of the study, the cheap beer was removed and replaced with an expensive $3.40 beer. The result was that people went back to buying the premium $2.50 beer, a small number would buy the $1.80 beer, and 10% opted for the expensive $3.40 beer, and they made more money overall. Basically, price anchoring is when you place multiple products side by side, and it's usually most effective if you've got at least 3 pricing tiers. Most people will choose the middle option. It looks cheap compared to the expensive option, but they assume that it's higher quality than the cheaper option. Of course, the study also shows us that there are some people out there that will always choose the premium product. I know that I myself am one of those people that falls victim to the idea that the premium product must be the best one. So how can you action this? Well, if you're running your own dropshipping store, then make sure that you don't have all your prices set to be the same price. Don't have every item in your store be $9.95. And if you're selling on Amazon, often the most safest pricing strategy to follow is to price your items somewhere in the middle of your competitors. Don't be the cheapest option, but don't be the most expensive. And actually, on the topic of psychological triggers, one of the smartest people I know when it comes to optimizing product pages to increase sales and conversions is my friend and Wholesale TED contributor Dan Meters, who made over $5 million last year legally selling branded trademarked products. Last week we ran a webinar with him where he showed us his step-by-step formula that he and his students have used to collectively sell hundreds of millions of dollars worth of products online that are trademarked and copyrighted. And due to huge demand, we are going to be running another webinar. Yes, he's going to be talking about his strategy again, but he's also going to be revealing some new things. So if you went to our webinar last week and you enjoyed it, then you will probably enjoy this one as well. And you can find the link to sign up for it in the video description below. Trigger 7, include product pictures with human faces. It probably doesn't surprise you, but humans are drawn to other humans' faces, and in particular, they're drawn to eyes, which is why the results of the test that I'm about to show you do not surprise me. Medallia Art, a website that sells artwork, did a test. They used to show photos of their paintings for sale on the homepage. They then swapped those pictures to show profile pictures of the artists instead. The click-through rate jumped by 95%. So this is a good reason to add at least one product image to your product gallery that contains a human face, because people are more likely to click and engage with that photo. And you want this because the more a potential customer engages with your site, the more likely they are to buy. But it doesn't just end there, because I know that a lot of my subscribers here at Wholesale TED are new sellers and they don't have a big audience or following for their store yet. And it's actually you guys that benefit the most from this hack because you get an additional benefit outside of just higher engagement on your site. Another study was conducted where photos containing faces were placed on e-commerce stores to see if they would increase trust or decrease trust. It was found that if the potential customer did not trust the store, that showing photos of faces helped build trust. However, if the customer already had trust built in the store, then photos of faces did not improve this. Building trust with potential customers is one of the challenges that new sellers and stores face, and so you should take advantage of this hack to create free, easy trust. So if you're dropshipping from AliExpress and your supplier doesn't have photos like this, then consider purchasing a test product and taking your own. And if you are selling products on Amazon, then the chances are you're getting a professional photographer to take photos of your product anyway, so just make sure that they take at least one photo that contains a human face. Trigger 8. Pain is more motivating than pleasure. So of course, when most people try and sell a product online, they simply list the different features that a product has, which of course is a huge mistake. You should be, of course, explaining how this product benefits and improves someone's life. But what's better, focusing on how a product adds some pleasure into someone's life, or focusing on how a product solves a problem? It's been studied and found that usually people are more motivated by avoiding short-term pain at the expense of both short-term and long-term pleasure. That's why everyone procrastinates so much. Our aversion to pain is very real and very strong. So how can you implement this? Well, take this little tool here. This little inconspicuous little tool sounds like crazy because it actually solves a problem that a lot of people have, which is slicing vegetables like onions and having it fall apart within your fingers. So if I was selling this in my product description, I would be emphasizing how frustrating and how slow it can be to chop onions and how much this little thing solves the problem. Of course, the honest reality is that some products don't solve any problems. These cute little cat coffee spoons here do not solve any problems that people have, but they do make mixing coffee and hot chocolate a lot more fun. And so for products like this here, don't try and force a problem. Yes, pain is the biggest motivator of all, but we still chase after pleasure, and that is still a strong motivator. Trigger 9, create a common enemy. So here is a quick tip. If you're struggling to create an interesting product ad or an interesting product description, then an easy way to make it more interesting is to create a common enemy. This is a pretty common and effective marketing tactic. Probably the most famous example is Apple, who for years ran an advertising campaign that drew a sharp distinction between Mac and PC users, essentially creating an us versus them attitude amongst its users. Apple no longer uses this marketing tactic, but it was extremely effective. I remember I had some friends who were sitting in a history class at school and they were learning about the different world wars, and a teacher asked them a question. What would you do to unite the whole world together and to stop everyone from fighting amongst themselves? And so my friends sat there and thought about it, and while other groups of kids said things like peace treaties and summits, my friends said an alien invasion. Now the teacher was not impressed with this answer, but I actually thought that it was genius because it's this exact idea. Despite all of our enormous differences, if aliens were to invade, we would all suddenly have a much worse common enemy, which could, in theory, unite us all together under one common goal to defeat them. Regardless, though, of whether or not you think that would work, common enemies definitely work when it comes to marketing. So how can you implement this? Well, let's say that you were selling these dog treats I highlighted in last week's video. It's made from all natural ingredients, so guess what your common enemy would be? Processed dog treats. Or maybe you're dropshipping these reusable shopping bags that fold into the shape of a fish. Then guess what your common enemy would be? Plastic shopping bags. Trigger 10, phrase your items as low. I have another question for you. Why do you think that free, just pay shipping promotions work so well? Well, the answer, of course, is that there are many reasons, and one of them is that you get to take advantage of possibly the most powerful word in marketing, and that is the word free. But there is another word in there that you may have not considered, and that is the word just. The item is free. Just pay $9.99 for shipping. Carnegie Mellon University researchers did a study. They took a free overnight DVD trial that had a $5 shipping charge. They changed the way it was phrased from a $5 fee to instead say a small $5 fee. And guess what? Conversions increased by 20%. So yes, if you were phrasing your offer as this item is free, shipping is $9.99, that would be far less effective than saying this item is free, you just pay $9.99 for shipping. So when you're phrasing your pricing and marketing materials, Don't be afraid to verbally minimize the price. It's just $9. It's only $9 for the low price of $9. So those are my 10 psychological triggers. And if you would like to know how my friend and e-commerce millionaire Dan and his students literally sell millions of dollars every year online with Amazon by using triggers to create optimized product pages, then you should be sure to sign up for our free webinar. And that sign up link is in the video description below. Please note registration is essential as this will not be streamed on YouTube and this is the last webinar that we are going to run. So if you don't want to miss out, then be sure to register by clicking on the sign up link in the video description below.